Now on Fox 13 News at 9, the 100 deadliest days of summer are coming to a close, and it did not end without tragedy this holiday weekend. The message UHP troopers have for drivers.
Coming up, I'll let you know where we have heat warnings, so some big heat concerns the next few days. Plus, we're going to track a cool down and a better chance for rain. The timing coming up.
A flight from Los Angeles to Salt Lake City ends with this man in handcuffs. What one passenger who witnessed this aggressive behavior has to say about the incident.
Unfortunately, he got to the hospital and it's cancer, and he's uninsured.
And a Utah firefighter faces a crushing diagnosis and needs help on his road to recovery. Hear from those who know him best.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Bob Evans. Kelly has the night off. As the Labor Day weekend ends, so does what's known as the 100 deadliest days on Utah roads. Sadly, 2 people lost their lives today in a crash on State Route 9 near Zion National Park. Fox 13's John Franke is live at UHP headquarters in Murray tonight with a look at the numbers and what may be behind the recent spike in deadly crashes. John.
Well, hey, Bob, this was a rough weekend out on Utah's roads as UHP investigated 3 crashes that resulted in 4 deaths on this Labor Day weekend alone. A year ago, on this same weekend, that number was 0. And in many cases, these tragedies could have been prevented.
Around rush hour on Monday afternoon, traffic flowed freely on Interstate 15. While lack of traffic is a welcome sight to drivers, sometimes those open roads can cause problems of their own.
Coming off of the pandemic, we saw less people driving on the roads, so the roads were a little bit more wide open. And now all of a sudden people feel like we can drive a little bit faster.
Utah Highway Patrol reports speeding has been an issue in 2021.
I was out working with one of my sergeants on 201 just an hour ago. He had a kid driving 106 miles an hour eastbound SR 201. 106 in a 65 just an hour ago.
UHP found speed was a factor in a Cache County crash that claimed the life of a motorcyclist this weekend. According to stats compiled by Zero Fatalities, in 2020, 85 people lost their lives in crashes caused by speeding. So far, in 2021, with about 4 months left in the year, speeding's been playing for 52 deaths on Utah roads.
And when people crash at those higher speeds, there's a higher likelihood of injury and death.
There are more sobering stats. By September 6th of 2020, Zero Fatalities reported 167 deadly crashes. This year, that number has ballooned to 178. Speed is not the only factor.
We're seeing a resurgence, unfortunately, in DUI driving, in wrong-way crashes, believe it or not. Those impaired drivers who get confused, they drive on the road the wrong direction and then they hit and kill somebody else, usually somebody that's innocent.
The safety message is one that's been shared many times, but if it's ignored, UHP wants drivers to know this.
If people make the bad decision to consume alcohol or to drive impaired, we're going to be out on the roadways to intercept those people.
And UHP has extra patrols out here tonight. In fact, they approved more than 100 overtime shifts this weekend to keep Utah's roads safe. By the way, this Thursday, they plan to release more in-depth numbers on Utah's 100 deadliest days. Reporting live in Murray tonight, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
John, thank you. Fox 13 is a proud partner with UHP and UDOT to reach the ultimate goal of 0 fatalities. You can help keep Utah roads safe by driving alert, focused, calmly, sober, and buckled up. Now to Utah's ongoing drought. The Great Salt Lake continues to shrink, setting new record lows. The latest report from the Department of Natural Resources says it is now at 4,190 feet elevation. That is 6 inches below the old record low. All of Utah's reservoirs are still hurting. Recent rain helped many remain steady, but only at an average of 51% capacity. And I'll tell you what, Allison, we need more rain badly.
Oh, absolutely. We have a better chance for some rain in the second half of our 7-day forecast. To start this week off, the holiday today, it was a warm one, which is great for pool activities, but we do have very warm temperatures that'll contribute to potentially some heat-related illnesses across southern Utah this weekend. North of Salt Lake, air quality is mostly orange right now. Same thing for the West Valley area down towards Harriman. Midvale over to the east side of the Salt Lake Valley down towards Sandy Lehigh into Provo. Moderate air quality, moderate air down into Payson as well. Better air across southern Utah. Salt Lake City currently 80 degrees as we're winding down on this holiday. Hope you had a great day. We do have temperatures tomorrow that'll be pretty hot, but we're under clear sky tonight, so we'll have a cool start tomorrow morning, about 60 degrees. But the rest of your Labor Day will keep those temperatures in the 70s till about midnight, and then we do have a better chance for some rain later this week. We'll talk more about that timing and the impacts coming up.
Sit down now. You can't hold us.
Okay, we're not.
We're out on the ground, sir.
We're not
Sit.
on the
Yes,
ground.
we are.
No.
We're only grounded. Sit. You see anybody else getting up? Sit.
There were some tense moments on American Airlines Flight 1802 from Los Angeles to Salt Lake City today. This first-class passenger became unruly, yelling obscenities and racist and sexist comments at fellow passengers and the flight crew. It happened about 30 minutes before the flight landed in Salt Lake early this afternoon. Dennis Bush of Salt Lake, who shot this video, told me that despite being told by the flight crew to remain seated, the man continued to get up.
And that caused a lot of anxiety. You could just feel everyone in the cabin tighten up as he stood up because we didn't know what he was going to do.
Did you ever feel in danger during all of this?
I wouldn't say that I felt in danger, but there was definitely, everyone was a little on the edge of their seat just because he did seem like a loose cannon.
Once the flight was at the gate, Salt Lake Airport police came on and arrested the man without incident. He was taken to the hospital to be checked out and then was cited for public intoxication. His name has not been released. No one was hurt. Thousands of wildland firefighters worked on this Labor Day, and many are still out there right now. But one experienced firefighter has been sidelined by a devastating diagnosis. Fox 13's Brian Schnee explains why he's not on the front lines with his crew tonight.
Unified Fire Authority Salt Lake One hand crew fights fire wherever they're needed across the country.
Last year, we spent a lot of time in Utah, and this year we went out as far as Michigan.
Just weeks ago on a fire in Nevada, it was one of their own that needed some help. Jeff Taylor serves as the crew EMT.
We just really want to support our guy and help him out.
One of his fellow firefighters came up to him and expressed concern with pain in his side. They did a few tests, but decided it was best to send him off to the hospital.
It's one of those things that, you don't want to take any risks with anyone's health, but then it also in the back of your mind, you're thinking, man, what kind of a bill am I leaving, my guy with?
That guy is Ben Hodges, a veteran wildland firefighter.
Unfortunately, he got to the hospital and it's cancer, and he's uninsured.
Ben was diagnosed with stage 3 testicular cancer in his lower abdomen. He is now off of the fire lines and beginning chemotherapy.
Finding out that news, I was really, really crushed. And I think a lot of people were, especially a lot of people who had known him for a long time.
The 31-year-old from Utah County is a seasonal wildland firefighter who has been working the job for 10 years now. According to coworkers, Ben does not qualify for health coverage.
I think a lot of people assume that we're like structure firefighters and we have these great benefits. And the truth is we don't. And it's a hard, grueling job. It'll be some of the hardest days of your life if you do it. It's also some of the best days of your life when you get to see some of the most amazing places.
Jeff says that Ben loves his job and cares for the land that his crew fights fire on, which includes cherishing the wildlife they come across.
Reminds you why it's important that we're doing the job that we're doing, how we're helping save habitats for animals.
Nonetheless, it's no secret that wildland firefighters have a mentally and physically challenging job, risking it all at times to save entire communities. It's something Jeff wants people to think about as Ben unexpectedly fights for his own life. Brian Schnee, Fox 13 News, Utah.
His GoFundMe page says Ben had his first round of chemotherapy last week. To learn more about how you can help Ben with treatment costs, go to his story at fox13now.com. Still to come, as one wildfire starts to wind down, 3 more start out west. The challenges crews are facing that will make this firefight a tricky one. Will there be a big spike in COVID-19 cases after the holiday weekend? What health leaders are saying tonight. And see the helping hands who are coming together to help those devastated by Hurricane Ida. In national news, firefighters in the West are gearing up for a potentially dangerous week as they battle 3 new wildfires in California. But as Camilla Bernal reports, a heat wave on the horizon could make things much worse.
New fires, growing concerns, and additional threats as crews make progress on the Caldor fire burning in the Lake Tahoe area. 3 new wildfires in California ignited Sunday as the region gears up for a heat wave.
New fires always take precedence because we don't want, another large fire.
In Southern California, the Aruba fire now burning in San Diego County. In Northern California, crews battling a fire in Amador County near the Caldor fire. And further north in Placer County, the bridge fire forcing evacuations.
It's got the potential to be a major fire.
Meanwhile, in South Lake Tahoe, evacuation orders were downgraded to evacuation warnings, nearly a week after flames raced towards the area, forcing thousands to flee.
It's a trip, man. It makes you grateful for what you have.
Meteorologists say parts of California, Nevada, and Arizona will experience temperatures up to 20 degrees above average, with the region possibly seeing temperatures rise up to 115 degrees. A red flag warning is in effect for portions of Oregon and California through Tuesday. Crews fear the hot and dry conditions this week will spread flames even further.
This terrain's just unreal.
Camila Bernal, Fox 13 News, Utah.
In southern Utah, the National Park Service and the FAA want your input on proposed aerial tours of Bryce Canyon. The 2 agencies are reviewing a draft plan which would authorize up to more than 500 air tours a year on defined routes. You can give your comments through the Park Service's Planning, Environment, and Public Comment website. A virtual public meeting about the draft Bryce Canyon National Park Air Tour Management Plan will be held on September 27th from 2:30 to 4 p.m. We have a link to where you can attend the virtual meeting and submit your comments at fox13now.com. On this Labor Day, dozens of sheepdogs and their handlers from around the U.S. and Canada competed head-to-head in the Soldier Hollow Classic in Summit County. Fox 13 photojournalist Eric Brown shows us why this competition, featuring man and man's best friend, means so much.
We are out at beautiful Soldier Hollow Nordic Center here in Midway. You bring all the handlers in, you have to be invited to come here, so it's the top tier dog athletes and also handlers that come into town for this event. Every year we see about 10 to 15,000 people come through the door. There are 42 dogs invited overall. They're competing for the Sheepdog Classic title and the bragging rights of being the best handler and the best dog pair. To have those bragging rights to say that you won the Sheepdog Classic is a big, big thing. You see that symbiosis between handler and dog on full display. You're seeing them communicate only with whistles. Sometimes there's a yell in there every once in a while, but the handler can only do so much. They have to be very delicate, and the dogs also have to be very delicate. So you see this give and take between the handler, the sheep, and the dog, and it's on full display today. It's just such a community that we see here. Folks that come every single year, sit in the same exact spot on the lawn, and they gotta be here. They gotta keep score. They gotta see every single trial.
Isn't that fun? The Soldier Hollow Classic Sheepdog Championship has been going on in Midway since 2003. To learn more about it, go to fox13now.com. Did you see that lady fanning herself there at the sheepdog competition?
Oh my goodness, we've got this heat wave also here in Utah. You just heard that story a few minutes ago about the heat wave out west, and we are included in that. Yeah. Temperatures in St. George close to 105 to 110.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's a very hot Labor Day week. It was our last hurrah of summer, but it sounds like we're going to get a taste of summer over the next couple of days. Thanks for joining us. We have high pressure that is dominating the region currently, and this is what's responsible for these warm temperatures and also this northwesterly flow that we're seeing across northern Utah. So we're starting to get some of that wind just in that clockwise motion coming in from California up into Idaho. That's why Idaho is seeing the worst of the smoke right now. And then we do have some thick smoke near the Idaho border into northern Utah. So we are tracking smoke over the next couple of days. We have light smoke for almost all of Utah currently, but it will likely get worse before it gets better. Currently 80 degrees here as we're winding down on this Monday, this holiday. I hope you had a long weekend. Temperatures feel like 78 currently, so it's a great night to be on the patio if you've got a sweater on when that sun goes down. It gets dark outside right now. It's definitely starting to feel a little cool out there, even though it's still pretty warm. We've got clear skies, Salt Lake down through Provo, and then across southern Utah, we also have the clear sky. But temperatures tomorrow morning will be about 60 when you first wake up. So grab a sweater when you head out the door tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be back into the 70s by about 9-10 a.m. And then we're quickly going to be into the 80s by 11 o'clock in the morning. Overnight temperatures will be about 55 to 60 for Provo and Ogden, Salt Lake into the mid-60s, Park City tomorrow morning. Same thing for Logan into the 40s, and for St. George mid-70s. St. George, you are very hot the next couple of afternoons. So tomorrow at 4 p.m., tomorrow afternoon here in Salt Lake, Ogden and Provo, it'll be around 90 to 95, upper 80s in Logan, and in St. George, about 105 to 110 for the next couple of days. So for Futurecast here across the region, I'll go ahead and I'll walk you through tonight into tomorrow morning. We're going to see a few clouds into the northern fifth of Utah by tomorrow at 9 a.m. Then we'll have mostly sunny sky here across the state, but we continue with that high pressure dominating the region. And so we keep even into Wednesday, more sunshine here across Utah. For St. George, daytime highs will be close to 105 to 110 for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then there's your cool down. Still 100 degrees, though, by Friday, Saturday, and into next week. Overnight temperatures in St. George about 70 to 75. And for Salt Lake City, we're in the 90s through Thursday. We're a little bit cooler by Friday, but we have temperatures close to record territory for Wednesday, Thursday this week. And let's talk about our air quality the next couple of days and a chance for some rain towards the end of the 7-day forecast coming up later in the hour.
All right, Allison, thank you. Still ahead, Salt Lake police need your help to find whoever shot a man this morning outside his home. What officers are saying tonight. As Labor Day comes to a close and more people are traveling, there are growing concerns over the potential for another COVID-19 surge. Chris Nguyen reports political and health leaders are worried about what lies ahead.
Physicians and officials alike pleading with Americans to get vaccinated.
We've lost 24 additional people since Friday. I'll ask for your prayers again, but I'll ask more than anything for you to get yourself vaccinated to stop this.
As COVID-19 continues to spread rapidly, particularly in places with low rates of vaccination, some hospitals are close to full capacity and facing a shortage of ICU beds.
You're going to be in a situation where you're going to have to make some very tough choices.
According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, nearly 80% of ICU beds are in use across the country, almost a third of which are occupied by COVID-19 patients. The situation already dire in states like Texas, Florida, and Georgia, where case numbers continue to climb.
The emergency department is full and the hospital is full. We're unable to place many patients.
And it's not just adults who are being impacted. A recent study from the CDC showed that more children went to hospitals and emergency rooms in states with lower vaccination rates. Dr. Anthony Fauci says masking and vaccinating all those who are eligible are the keys to getting COVID-19 under control.
Surround the children be it friends, family, school, teachers, personnel in the school, surround the children with vaccinated people.
A push to protect the vulnerable as summer comes to a close. Chris Wynn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A quick reminder for families in Grand County, all classes and after-school activities at Grand County High School are canceled this week due to a COVID-19 outbreak reported over the weekend. 10 staff members and 8 students at the high school tested positive for the virus last week, and the district is unable to provide substitutes. Classes will resume next Monday, September 13th. In the meantime, custodians will deep clean the high school.
Labor Day is almost over, and coming up, we'll show you how local hotels are doing over the long holiday weekend as COVID cases continue to surge.
As always, I mean, every year we are up and advocating for more social services, more mental health beds available.
Pioneer Park in downtown Salt Lake City continues to be a hotbed of criminal activity. See what one group is doing to help improve that area.
Downtown Salt Lake City workers are slow to come back to the office. I'll tell you why and what can be expected in the next few months.
At least 50 people lost their lives in the Northeast when remnants of Hurricane Ida swept through the region last week. As the massive cleanup effort continues, President Biden has approved major disaster declarations to help those impacted by the storm. Fox's Anna Eliopoulos has the details.
Folks in parts of the Northeast still reeling from last week's devastating flooding brought on by the remnants of Hurricane Ida. Already days into the cleanup, and many still have a long recovery ahead of them.
Today was the first day we were actually able to see the actual street.
Homes in the region were inundated with water, including this one in New Jersey. Surveillance video capturing the homeowner leaving the basement seconds before rushing water forced the wall to collapse. President Biden on Monday approving major disaster declarations for those impacted by the historic flooding in 6 New Jersey counties and another 5 in New York.
Every house is destroyed. Every house.
The same day, lawmakers on the ground surveying the damage. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, along with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, touring hard-hit Queens.
This disaster declaration is exactly what we need, but now comes the part of getting everyone the money they deserve. People need money, and they need it quick.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy touring Lambertville, where more than half the homes experienced moderate water damage and more than 127 structures have severe water damage. The governor saying relief can't come soon enough.
And the spirit of teamwork and community activism is overwhelming. It will get back on its feet. We will stay with it until it does. It won't be overnight, unfortunately. There's a lot of damage here.
And on Tuesday, President Biden is expected to assess that damage firsthand. In New York, Anna Eliopoulos, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Meantime, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are helping with recovery and restoration operations in Louisiana. Volunteers say this is the least they could do to help people who've lost everything in the storm.
When they come back and they look at their house and there's trees down and there's no power and there's standing water and they're wondering what has happened to my home, it's nice that we can walk in and eliminate at least 1 or 2 of their concerns and offer some love, acting like the Savior does.
All LDS missionaries were relocated from the storm's path ahead of the storm. Now many of them are working as part of the cleanup team. Back here at home, the quest continues to make Pioneer Park in Salt Lake City safer. A coalition is working to get more services for those in need and clean up the park. And this time, they've called in the top brass from Washington, D.C. Fox 13's Amy Ney explains.
There's a problem in the community, and we know that.
An advocacy group in Salt Lake fighting to make Pioneer Park safe again.
These pressing challenges are blatantly obvious, as we walk around the city. Do we have the strength? Do we have the political will as a community to band together and do the hard things?
The Pioneer Park Coalition getting advice from one of the drug enforcement agency's top cops who once worked the Salt Lake City beat.
I came to Utah the first time in 2016 And the Rio Grande issue was a sore subject. I saw it as it took place, as it unfolded, and I was quietly behind the scenes.
From there, Agent Brian Besser moved on to Washington, D.C., where he serves as Deputy Assistant Administrator in the DEA. He says his experience there shows him Capitol Hill is key to helping solve the homeless crisis.
I believe that if you have any type of out of control, quote, homeless crisis in a community, that crisis has been largely manufactured to some degree by dysfunctional policies.
And the folks at the Pioneer Park Coalition agree.
We definitely want to apply pressure to decision makers and say, hey, this is what people on the ground are experiencing every single day. When we come out strong and say, hey, we're going to enforce the law. We're not going to tolerate, open heroin use. We're not going to tolerate public lewd acts. They don't happen when we enforce the law.
The coalition pushing for more resources now in the state's biggest city.
Whether it's an overflow shelter or different resource centers, no one's super keen on having that in their neighborhood, and it consistently falls to Salt Lake City.
Agent Besser says it's about the balance between taking care of those in crisis while keeping a city accessible to everyone.
We want to figure out a way, holistically, comprehensively, judiciously, how we can compassionately offer services while employing common sense regulation of public space.
Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Salt Lake police are looking for the people responsible for an early morning drive-by shooting that sent a man to the hospital. It happened just before 6:30 this morning in the 1600 block of Wright Circle by Redwood Road and 5th South. Detectives say a 55-year-old Hispanic man was sitting on his porch when he was shot multiple times. A black sedan was spotted leaving the scene of the shooting. If you have any information that can help investigators, call Salt Lake Police. The Weber County Sheriff's Office is touting the work of its newest unit. On the first day of active service last Friday, the Street Crimes Unit was able to recover one stolen vehicle from Washington Terrace. They arrested a juvenile male suspected in that theft, as well as 10 other vehicle burglaries. The unit was also able to make an arrest for felony drug distribution in West Haven. The Street Crimes Unit focuses on problem areas in 8 contract cities and unincorporated Weber County. The Sheriff's Office says the new unit will concentrate on specific areas that are seeing a spike in crime. In southern Utah, a Parowan woman is dead after being thrown from a horse over the weekend. 32-year-old Shauna Lovell leaves behind her husband and 4 elementary-aged children. A childhood friend who spoke with us says Shauna was riding for the first time in 13 years on September 4th when the horse got spooked by an ATV driving by. Lovell was thrown and suffered severe head injuries. She passed away at the St. George Hospital later that same day.
She's just a neat girl, and 20 years, she stuck out in my mind all this time. Her husband, Dixon, he called me right away and told me what happened. I was devastated, actually.
A link to the GoFundMe page set up to help Shauna's family is at fox13now.com. We are more than a year and a half into the pandemic, and while many things have returned to a normal, sort of, a lot of people are still working from home. Coming up, when more people are expected to return to the office. After this Labor Day, only a third of downtown Salt Lake City will be going back to the office. The rest will keep working from home. Fox 13's Haley Higgins looks at one of the slowest rebounding sectors in the capital city.
18 months into the pandemic, COVID-19 continues to change where Utahns work.
We've all learned new tricks for working, and we know that we can work from home.
The latest numbers show that only 33% of downtown office workers are actually in their offices, according to the Downtown Alliance.
But I'm very bullish on the idea that people will return to the office.
That number is up 22%, the lowest drop during the early months of the pandemic, according to the Downtown Alliance Executive Director, Dee Brewer. He's optimistic the trend will continue to rise this fall.
Now that kids are back in school, We're going to see those numbers go up because we have some large employers like the LDS Church and Goldman Sachs and some other major ones who will be ramping up.
Well, the low office occupancy can have a negative impact on businesses downtown that rely on those workers, including retail and restaurants. Reporting in Salt Lake City, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah's tourism industry has taken a major hit from the pandemic. Still ahead, we take a look at how local resorts and hotels are handling a second summer with COVID-19.
It's a big week for college football in the state with Utah and BYU set to play this Saturday. Coming up in sports, we'll look back at both teams' season opening wins and look ahead to the rivalry game.
So glad you could join us for Fox 13 News at 9 on the tail end of this Labor Day holiday weekend. Fox 13 meteorologist Allison Krogan will have your first alert forecast in just a few minutes. You know, Labor Day weekend is always one of the busiest travel times of the year. Fox 13's April Baker checked with local lodgings to see how they're faring during the long holiday weekend.
There's no electricity.
If you want to wake up in the year 1892,
Wind up.
Kara Alden has got you covered.
This is an example of an 1890s piece.
She took over Ellerbeck Bed and Breakfast in Salt Lake City with her husband in January 2020. Although the pandemic almost immediately affected them, they've been able to make up for lost time this year.
Moving into like the spring, summer, it has been packed. We are basically at capacity or every night.
She says that's been the case throughout Labor Day weekend, and their calendar year is now booked out through almost the entire month of September.
Is this normal? Is this like a post-COVID bubble of some kind? But either way, our location in Salt Lake feels very stable.
So it was 100 years old when we bought it in 1987.
It's something others are seeing too.
I've been extremely busy the last 6 months.
Fran Hansen has been operating her bed and breakfast in Sandy for 20 years. She believes the pandemic has helped her stay busy because she offers a more intimate experience for guests.
Well, I've just been busier than usual. I've been extra busy. I think that a lot of people are just looking for a safe place to go where there's not a lot of people around.
While these bed and breakfasts say they were packed, other hotel employees who didn't want to speak on camera tell Fox 13 News that they were slower than anticipated. Reporting in Sandy, April Baker, Fox 13 News, Utah.
After being forced to close because of the pandemic, the Salt Lake Film Society will officially reopen its venues next month. The group says there are some fun changes in store starting October 22nd, including auditorium improvements and new screens. If you want to get the full update from the Film Society, go to fox13now.com. Residents of Park City spent their Labor Day celebrating their heritage. Today was the 125th annual Miners' Day. Now, last year's celebration was canceled because of the pandemic. They were only able to do a small virtual event. Park City Rotary Club member Tom Kelly was grateful to be back in person this year.
There are many components to Miners' Day. It kicks off with a 5K run, the Bark City 5K with lots of dogs. We've got a breakfast in the park, the parade, running of the balls.
More than $50,000 was raised for local charities at this year's Park City Miners' Day. The sport of pickleball has grown exponentially recently. Today, many Utahns took part in the Battle by the Bay 3-on-3 tournament in Far West. Fox 13 photojournalist Manuel Rodriguez shows us the action.
2 holds. You. Yes. I go. Yes. Nice job. I love the community. Like, we have a pickleball fam bam, we call it, and just a great group of people, and it's just fun. It's competitive, but you're out here kind of exercising. We call ourselves lazy, but it is a lot of exercise. I go. Woo! Ah!
I actually had a couple of friends playing at a tournament out in Brigham City, Utah, and we went to watch, and we were hooked ever since. The cross between tennis and badminton, just a little bit bigger ball, but not as bouncy as a tennis ball. You get a lot of friends that turn into family.
You just get in it with your partner and you just want to get that final shot. It's such a rush when you hit that winner, but you did it together. And then that final point just boosts you.
We are the Polynesian Pickleball Club, and that's what our goal is to promote whatever awarenesses that are around. It's called the Battle by the Bay because this is Willard Bay, but we're also doing it as a battle against human trafficking.
You get a variety of everything. Like, it doesn't matter how old, how young, how tall, short you are. Just get with somebody that's been playing, and they'll be willing to show anybody how to play. But I will tell you, it's addicting.
Yeah, fighting human trafficking, they're out working up a sweat. Proceeds from this competition support Operation Underground Railroad.
Well, it was a great day with that weather for pickleball. Tomorrow's going to be a bit hazier, so I went ahead and I fast forwarded our surface smoke. This is starting at tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. We're going to start seeing that smoke moving into eastern Utah and then even into southern Utah throughout the day tomorrow. So it's a short work week for many of you, but it's going to be a bit hazy and very hot to start the week. For Salt Lake County, our air quality forecast for Tuesday and Wednesday does call for that air to make it to the orange level, which is unhealthy for sensitive groups. So if you are planning on going outside to play pickleball, play tennis, play golf, go for a walk, or if you are riding your bike to work, just check the air quality before you head out the door because it'll be bad at times over the next couple of days. And as I said, it's going to keep on moving that smoke even into southern Utah by tomorrow afternoon. So more of the state will be impacted. For today, clear sky from Logan down through Draper into Provo, but here across the Salt Lake Valley for Salt Lake, Kern, South Jordan, Bluffdale, up towards the U, even up into Park City, we have clear sky this evening. And then for southern Utah, the top weather headline, an excessive heat warning is going to start tomorrow at noon. That'll take you through Wednesday at 9 p.m. There's a heat warning including Zion National Park, the St. George area, and also hurricanes. So we just really have to make sure that we are being careful. And, you know, if you're going to play pickleball, do that first thing in the morning because afternoons are going to be way too hot for southern Utah. Overnight temps about 55 degrees for Provo, mid 60s to low 60s for Ogden and Salt Lake, Park City, up towards the Logan area and Evanston, all in the 40s. And then by tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be a really hot day. St. George at 5 p.m. you are close to 105. Salt Lake City, Provo, Ogden, low 90s at that time. So our highs tomorrow will still be above average here across the state. And we also see better chances for showers and thunderstorms to develop in the second half of our 7-day forecast. There's still not a lot of agreement between the different forecast models and exactly how this will play out. Just know that Friday, Saturday into this weekend, we do have that chance for some showers and thunderstorms at times. Right now, it's looking more like a slight chance, but we'll, keep honing in on that forecast as we get closer. Just know that we're going to be cooling down in the second half of the forecast. St. George, you're close to 105 to 110 through Thursday, and then you're close to 100 degrees. And here in Salt Lake City, we are 90s through Thursday, close to 100 degrees on Thursday, and then 80s, more clouds and some chances for rain this upcoming weekend.
It's rivalry week for Utah and BYU. The Utes and Cougars will play this Saturday night in Provo at LaVell Edwards Stadium, and both teams going to this game after opening the season with wins. The Utes beat Weber State in their season opener, with Charlie Brewer getting his first start at quarterback for the Utes and Devin Lloyd leading a strong Utah defense. But the Cougars will be a tougher challenge this week. Utah's won 9 games in a row against BYU, tying the longest winning streak in the history of this series. They'll try to make it 11 straight on Saturday.
Nothing lasts forever, but we're just approaching it like we do every year and pretty much every game. Just the preparation will be the key. It's not the emotional part of it or how many wins in a row or any of that stuff. It's just that you got to prepare the right way, and that's your best chance to win a game is through great preparation.
I think that you're fooling yourself if you just say that it's just another game. it's not, you know, and it doesn't mean that it's the Super Bowl, but it's a big game. You know, we respect BYU, they respect us. We know they're going to play their best game. We know we're going to play our best game. People that don't know about the Holy War, especially people from the East, they don't really understand that it's one of the biggest rivalries in the country. And you kind of go through and tell them about that, and it makes it fun.
BYU is coming off a nice win over Arizona in Las Vegas. Now the Cougars have their sights set on beating Utah and ending the Utes' 9-game winning streak. This rivalry is different from the days when they both battled for conference championships. The head coaches are friends. They have a lot of respect for each other, but they still want to win this rivalry game.
There's really good people all over this place, and especially in the rivalry games. And I think it's just really good for the soul to wish good things on people. I mean, that's why I want to beat Utah. I really do, right? But afterwards, I wish them success and hope they do well. Me and my little brother played here at BYU, and our oldest brother played at Utah. And so there's the family connection, there's the friends, and you know, there's a lot of guys on our team that know a lot of guys on their team, and so that's on the field. And then you go beyond the field and into households, and there's a lot of people that cheer for both, and there's a lot of people that have mixed families that go for one or the other school. So I think that makes it a lot more fun and makes it, you know, the bragging rights are the key here. So we're looking to try to find ways to make our fans happy, and that as a coaching staff and as a program and as a team, that's what we want to do.
Might be time for a BYU win. Their last one, 2009, Hall of George in overtime.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
You can tell that Kalani and Kyle really do care for each other.
Sure they do.
They're great friends. All right, we'll be right back. Several years ago, the artist Banksy made headlines when he shredded his own painting when it was on sale. Now that piece of art is on sale again. Sotheby's says the work could sell for more than $8 million.
I thought it was shredded. How's it for sale?
I don't know.
People will buy it.
It's Banksy.
Yeah, right.
He's mysterious. Quick Cast up next.